Hey everybody, it's Dr. G with Windmill Wellness Center, and I want to take just a few minutes to go over some real numbers with you all. I've been hearing a lot of different things lately from people who really should know and have taken the time to do just a little bit of research to understand what's going on right now with the health of our country. And it really upsets me that people that are in a position of authority are just spewing what they're hearing in the news and believing that it's 100% true. What I want to do is I want to share some information with you that I heard, found, and researched, which really surprised me. Maybe it shouldn't surprise me, but it did, because it's really shocking when you really think of the numbers. There's a program out there called VAERS, VAERS. It stands for Vaccine Adverse Effects Reaction. Is it reacting? Adverse effect. Reporting system. It is something that was put together, I believe, by the CDC, or for sure the government, because there was enough adverse reactions to vaccines in general that they wanted a way for the public to report and for doctors to report that they feel a high fever or a seizure or something is related to a vaccine. Doesn't matter what vaccine it is. And one of those categories, unfortunately, but is death. And they show a direct connection where it's within minutes or within hours. There's this direct connection. So just a number that I heard and that I researched that I found shocking. This program, VAERS, started in 1991. From 1991 to 2019, what they did is if you add up every single death that's attributed to any vaccine, any and all vaccine, and there's lots of them out there, every single vaccine, every single death for all 28 years, we come up with, I'll give you the exact number, 9,864. That's way too many. I did the math on that, and the average is about 500. I believe it was 568 per year. Now, 2019, the last year we had numbers for, it was only 204. But the average year for the 28 years is 500 and something deaths. And every single one of them is tragic, without a doubt. 9,000 for 28 years, 560-ish per year, average. This year, 2021, just for the first 8 months, and not for all vaccines, just this one segment of Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, just the COVID ones. And this was as of a few days ago, so it may have changed. 12,791. So I just want you to think about those numbers and let them sink in. Over 28 years, every single vaccine that's ever been given over those 28 years, 9,864 deaths. Average 568 or 5 per year. This year so far, 12,791. If that continues, I did the math on it, it's just under 20,000 per year. That's 35 times the average for the last 28 years. And no one's raising an eyebrow. No one's asking a question. As a matter of fact, they're doubling down on guilting, coercing, manipulating people into getting these vaccines instead of giving them the freedom to decide what they want to do. And I don't have a problem with people getting the vaccines at all. I have always been a proponent, and the only thing I've ever told people to do over the last 30 years when people have been asking me about this vaccine or that vaccine, whether it's for themselves, their child, or of course this year. I say the same thing, and I've said the same thing for 30 years. Do your research, get informed, make your best decision possible that feels right to you. I think that's great. What saddens me is when someone says, well, I wasn't going to, but then I went to my doctor's office and they convinced me to. No, I want people to make a decision based on information, not emotion, based on information. Let's look at all these things. Let's look at the pros and the cons and just decide. But decide for you. We should have the freedom to decide whether we're going to put that in our bodies or not. Just like I have the freedom to decide whether I'm going to eat fast food for every meal or eat organic or something in between. That's totally up to me. And by the way, whether I do that or not, it does. Whether I eat unhealthy or healthy, it does impact your health. Because people are saying, oh, everyone should get the vaccine because it impacts other people. Well, guess what? Every health decision we make, if I decided to smoke for 50 years of my life and I'm sick and I'm just unhealthy, and that's not good for you either. So we have to realize that us taking care of ourselves and doing the best for ourselves health-wise, whatever decisions those are going to be for you, and taking responsibility for those decisions, since there are decisions, it impacts everybody else. And the healthier I am, guess what? I'm contributing to the health of everybody else. The sicker I am, I'm pulling that down. So I just felt those numbers were extremely important to understand. And one last number, and again, the CDC did this study. It's a real study, and the CDC did it. You can look it up. It's very simple. It's not just, I'm not just saying, oh, someone did a study somewhere. And it wasn't just 3 people. It was 265,000 people. Just incredible. 265,000 people who had COVID. The reinfection rate, meaning if you had COVID, the odds of getting it again, because you hear that a lot out there, because if someone had vaccine, because they're like, I already have the natural antibodies. Well, what if you get infected again? Well, they studied over 250,000 people who got COVID. They studied them over a long enough period of time to see who got reinfected. 0.1%. That's it. And then they studied on how the vaccine reduced that number, and it wasn't even clinically significant. What does that mean? It means there's no clinical value in getting versus not getting. And that's what the study said. That's not what I'm saying. That's what not clinically significant means. So I just encourage you guys to do your own research, make whatever decision you want to make. We all have to take responsibility for our health choices, whatever they are, and then stand for that choice. Real science, real numbers are statistics that aren't manipulated. And it's very easy to see which ones are being manipulated and which ones aren't. And one way to look at it is who's funding the research. Who's funding the research? We follow the money, and you're amazed that, I mean, let's look at this. There was research decades ago from funded by cigarette companies that said, hey, guess what? Smoking is good for your health. And when smoking first started, many people are way too young for that. I'm too young for that. But the advertisements were, taking a deep breath in when you inhale your cigarette is good for your lungs. Pregnant women love the taste of fill in the blank cigarette brand. And they had a picture of a pregnant woman smoking. This was all okay. But now we know different. Why? From statistics. Now the box says using these may cause cancer. So I just want you to make an informed decision. Be okay with your decision. And the decision needs to be about what works for you, because it's your body and it's your life. You're the one that has to deal with the health consequences of whatever decision you make, not everyone around you. And right now, there's a lot of people, a lot of families that are trying to say, well, if you don't do this, you're not going to be able to do that. You need to make an informed decision for whatever's best for you and your health. This is critical for you. It's critical for all of us. And then whatever decision that is, fast food every meal, organic every meal, I'm going to exercise, I'm not going to exercise, I'm going to smoke, I'm not going to smoke, I'm going to get vaccinated, I'm not going to get vaccinated. Whatever the decision is, we take responsibility for it, and there are always consequences to those decisions. Some decisions give us good consequences, some decisions give us poor consequences. Our research and information gathering prior to the decision helps us decide which direction that's going to go in, good results or bad results, and then you make your decision based on what works best for you. I care about you. I love you. I love every person out there, even the ones that don't agree with me. It's not about getting people to agree with me. It's about helping people make an informed choice with anything related to health. But right now we're dealing with a vaccine that has real numbers, and real numbers that are very shocking. At least they're shocking to me. And every single death is just sad. And I know, unfortunately, a lot of times big pharma looks at these numbers and they know there's going to be a certain number of them. And whatever number it is in their magical formula, to them, it's an acceptable number. To me, 1 is unacceptable. Forget about almost 13,000. And that's just up to now, 8 months of 2021. So God bless, do your research. I love you guys, and make your informed decision. Take care.